there is a recession. NBC's Jim Miklashevsky is at the White House tonight. James?
Tom, if you were to ask the president's political advisors what they want for Christmas, it would be a tourniquet for the economy. One that could also stop the political bleeding here at the White House.
Get it straightened out.
President Bush tried to brush off the latest bad news polls.
You're not going to live or die by polls.
But they've certainly grabbed the attention at the White House. So much so that spokesman Marlon Fitzwater admitted for the first time today that the economy is still in recession. Technically, the White House insists the economy is in a sluggish recovery. But in dishing out a strong dose of political reality, Fitzwater said, people are unemployed. People are hurting. For all practical purposes, the recession continues. Meanwhile, the Democrats continue to stagger Bush in the polls. New York Governor Mario Cuomo has closed to within 5 points of Bush, and Cuomo's not even a candidate. The polls also show more public confidence in the Democrats than the Republicans to handle the economy. That's political red meat for Republican conservatives like Pat Buchanan, who's challenging Bush in the New Hampshire primary.
Ronald Reagan's party lost the issue of tax cuts to the party of Teddy Kennedy and Tom Foley and George Mitchell. Unbelievable.
For now, the president is focusing his own recovery on New Hampshire. In a teleconference call to push his education program, the president said he knows New Hampshire's economy is hurting.
And when people are hurting, why, we want to do everything we possibly can do.
And that means pumping political pork, jobs, money, projects into the state. In recent weeks, New Hampshire received a $188 million Medicaid windfall, a new passport processing center worth 400 jobs, and new federal guarantees for small business loans. Bush will campaign in New Hampshire next month, but tomorrow the White House rolls out its secret political weapon. Barbara Bush goes to New Hampshire to file her husband's name in that state's presidential primary. Tom?
Thank you, Jim. And the United Auto Workers Union could use some good news tonight as well. Anticipating bad news from GM tomorrow, the UAW is in a fighting mood, but in this case, it's a fight within the union. NBC's Jim Cummins.
General Motors is expected to lose $7 to $8 billion this year, its worst year ever. The company says tomorrow it will announce major actions to cut its losses. That could mean massive layoffs of both union and non-union workers. GM is expected to close several plants. This plant in Arlington, Texas, where they build Chevys, Buicks, and Cadillacs, is one of those in trouble. In anticipation of tomorrow's announcement, leaders here at the local union for the Arlington plant would like to cut their own deal with GM, relax work rules and schedules, make the plant more productive, and save their jobs. Mike Seiler is chairman of the local bargaining committee.
As long as we can keep our dignity and respect and a good working environment in the plants, and we're willing to make more products.
And help GM.
Right, because that's where we get our bread and butter.
Most of the workers seem to support the plan to reopen the union contract with GM. They consider it a matter of survival.
I'm all for whatever concessions that we have to make. You know, I'm for that because I want my job, and I know everybody else here wants theirs too.
It's a competition between each local union, and whoever comes up with the best deal for General Motors, that's the one they'll do.
The workers assume if their plant in Texas survives, this one in Michigan will close, since they both build the same cars and only one factory is needed to do that now. The president of the union local in Michigan has no plans to renegotiate anything with GM.
Like I say, every plant that's done that so far, most of them's been closed because it just goes into chaos. They just stop. They don't know when to stop saying yes.
The UAW calls it whipsawing, the practice of pitting one union local against another. Today, a GM official was asked whether that's what the company is doing in this case.
In no way, shape, or form are we going to engage in whipsawing our unions anywhere in the country.
Mark Douglas has worked at the Arlington, Texas plant for 17 years and says it's outrageous to see union members fighting among themselves for a diminishing number of jobs.
The union's for everyone to stick together, a solidarity type thing. It's not to see who's going to bend over to backwards and give up the most just to keep a job.
But a majority of the members in his union local are expected to do just that. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Arlington, Texas.
And for retailers, Christmas sales this year mean just that, putting the goods on sale, cutting prices, hoping to survive. NBC's chief economics correspondent is Irving R. Levine.
I shop sales. I look for what's on sale.
Everything seems to be on sale. The whole country's on 50% off. Merchants say that sales have been the only way to get people into the stores this Christmas season because Americans are in no mood for the expensive or the frivolous.
They are buying very basic things that they can use and that their families can use and their friends can use.
Discount stores offering the biggest bargains are about the only ones reporting brisk business. At this Gaithersburg, Maryland store, shoppers overlook the cement floors and the lack of holiday frills.
It's not attractive, but that's where you're saving your money.
These stockings I've seen in the department stores for twice the price, if not 3 times.
Sales of clothing accessories such as neckties actually are benefiting from the recession.
In difficult times, people decided they would change their wardrobe by buying new shirts and new ties rather than buying a new suit.
775.
Anything to move the merchandise. At this Washington, D.C. store, items that people are returning even before Christmas are being auctioned off at a loss. Retail bankruptcies, which shut down 2 stores in this New Jersey mall, were up 26% last year and are expected to show an even bigger increase this year.
This recession is not only affecting the retailers, affecting the suppliers and the wholesalers as well. And we've already seen bankruptcies on the wholesaler supply side this Christmas.
All the sales mean lower profits during the very season which merchants count on for most of the year's profits. And lower profits for the second Christmas in a row may mean that many stores themselves will be on sale next year. Irving R. Levine, NBC News, Washington.
When Nightly News continues in a moment, the new Soviet Commonwealth, just a few days old, and already there is bickering over the nukes. And tonight's What Works? Fighting back when developers get too close. Roger O'Neill shows it's not enough to just say no.
Here's the line. A fire starts wherever it chooses, and it really doesn't care who gets in the way. It treats everyone the same. The only real protection is total protection. That's why First Alert offers a complete family of smoke detectors and fire extinguishers, each designed for a critical area of your home. Don't find out too late you were almost protected. Depend on First Alert smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. First Alert, because your family comes first.
Here's a great big idea. From Presto, professional salad shooter slicer shredder. Big capacity and power. Special blades to point and slice thick, slice thin, shred, even ripple cut. Right where you want. From Presto.
Now you don't need a prescription to get prescription strength medicine for itches and rashes. Introducing new Maximum Strength Cord-Aid. Now with twice the healing medicine. New Maximum Strength Cord-Aid. Prescription strength without a prescription.
Boris Yeltsin and Mikhail Gorbachev met today and agreed to dissolve the Soviet Union in favor of the new Commonwealth. The stage is set for a New Year's Eve lowering of the Soviet flag over the Kremlin to be replaced by the colors of Russia. Yeltsin had a big setback as well today. On Monday, he assured Secretary of State Baker that only Russia would keep Soviet nuclear weapons. But today, the leader of the huge Asian Republic of Kazakhstan told Baker a different story. NBC's John Dancy in Alma-Ata.
Baker quickly learned that Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev has no intention of leaving Boris Yeltsin's Russia as the only nuclear power in the former Soviet Union. Nazarbayev, through his spokesman, said Kazakhstan would keep nuclear weapons as long as Russia had them. Only yesterday, Yeltsin, with Baker at his side, had told a press conference that 3 of the republics which now hold nuclear weapons, and that includes Kazakhstan, would, quote, eventually become non-nuclear states. Yesterday, Baker called Yeltsin's statement, quote, a full and complete summary of their talks. But tonight, he implied Yeltsin had misled the press in his statement.
My reaction to that, John, is that I did not say that I had received any such assurance. You may have drawn that conclusion from what perhaps others have said, but I've been very careful not to involve myself in those kinds of issues.
Yeltsin's assurance and Nazarbayev's rejection of it cast immediate doubt on Yeltsin's ability to deliver on the assurances he announced only yesterday. Beyond that, it cast doubt on the ability of any one man to lead the Commonwealth. Baker is pushing the Soviet republics to bring all nuclear weapons under a single unified command. Yeltsin announced yesterday that would happen. The former Soviet Union has 27,000 nuclear weapons, many of them in Kazakhstan. Even though Kazakhstan is a Central Asian republic, it has a large population of Russians, and many experts believe it has a high potential for ethnic conflict or even inter-republic warfare with Russia in the future. Nazarbayev was clearly not about to give up his whole card, nuclear weapons. The nuclear weapons issue illustrates the difficulty that lies ahead for the new Commonwealth. There will be at least 9 republics in it with 9 different agendas and no one leader with the authority or charisma to keep them all moving in the same direction. John Dancy, NBC News in Alma-Ata, Kazakhstan.
The end of the Cold War may have removed the world's biggest threat to peace, but not its only one. These new circumstances will produce a redefined American military, but some things simply will not change. NBC's Fred Francis on the work still to be done.
Military leaders insist that despite the Soviet collapse, the Mediterranean area is the one world hotspot where a U.S. big gun presence will be needed for a long time.
I'm still waiting for the New World Order to be orderly. I'm not a real geopolitician, but I predict what I've seen in the last 25 years, a lot of turmoil.
Today, Captain Ewing's carrier, the USS America, and ships of its battle group are trying to keep pace with tumultuous times. The U.S. is still the protector of Kurds in Iraq. There's a plan to help Yugoslav refugees. Islamic fundamentalism could ignite Algeria. There is the constant Gaddafi's Libya, and Israel and the Arab states are forever a flashpoint. Military men say that the absence of the Soviets as antagonists as well as policing partners means that nothing is predictable. In fact, they don't even know if there is a Soviet Navy anymore. For instance, for the first time in 40 years, there is only one Soviet surface warship anywhere in the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. Analysts aren't sure whether the Soviet Navy is collapsing, regrouping, out of fuel, food, money to pay sailors, awaiting political direction, or all of the above. Here's what intelligence experts are fearful of, that Soviet military equipment may soon be affordable to even the poorest third world nations, that territorial disputes and centuries-old enmities could be settled in blood.
These are not simpler, safer times. These are perhaps times to be a little more cautious.
And time, say other defense officials, that like it or not, the U.S. warship is the patrol car keeping peace, especially in the Mediterranean. That despite the rhetoric that the family of nations can keep order, the U.S. fighter pilot and U.S. firepower is as necessary today as the cop on any beat. Fred Francis, NBC News, London.
In Miami today, the prosecution rested its case in the drug trafficking trial of Manuel Noriega. When this trial resumes next month, his defense will argue that the deposed Panamanian dictator actually cooperated with U.S. drug authorities.
Can a razor cut your beard off below the skin without the blades even touching your face? It can if it's a Norelco. Norelco's patented lift and cut system lifts the hair, so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. Are you getting a shave this incredibly close and exceptionally comfortable? You are when you shave with Norelco. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
It started early this morning, that feeling that something was a little off. But by noon, her fever had started to climb. Her whole body ached. And now at 5:30, she's coughing and congested. Her head is pounding. Kate Porter has the flu. Now all she can think about is relief. Theraflu relief. Theraflu is serious flu medicine doctors recommend. Soothing, hot liquid relief to ease flu symptoms fast. Theraflu, your flu misery stops here.
What does it feel like to slip your feet into a pair of isotoner slippers? Relaxing. Comforting. Soothing. Isotoner slippers, their luxurious feeling of a foot massage, make them the perfect gift to give to yourself or someone else. Isotoner slippers. Doesn't someone you know deserve a pair?
Our daily difference now, what works? Can't fight City Hall? Of course you can. The real question is, can you win? It's not easy for citizens groups to beat entrenched political and financial interest, but it is possible. NBC's Roger O'Neill with what works in Golden, Colorado.
We're out of order. We will conduct these hearings in a manner deemed appropriate. Order her removed from this hearing room, please.
It's a surefire way to get attention, and on the evening news.
Here's the law in Jefferson County.
But it's no longer enough if your fight is with City Hall or a rich and powerful developer.
You can't expect City Council to just say, well, if there's some citizens screaming and yelling and saying, not in my backyard, that then the process will come to a grinding halt. It won't.
What does work is everything from slick videos,
2 ponds, a veritable Eden for the nature lover,
to a pot full of experts and lawyers, as many as the other side.
This plan as presented is a disaster by any environmental, traffic, or visual standard.
Promises by developers, promises by politicians, promises not kept have led to this new era of discontent in the neighborhood.
They are very protective, and they have the right to say, no, don't do this. This is wrong. And I'll show you why. You know, if the burden of proof is falling on us, okay, we'll take it on and we'll demonstrate why it's wrong.
That's what Don Glass and Lonnie Franciscotti did when a zoning board recommended approval of a golf driving range in their neighborhood. City officials never asked how many golf balls would sail into the yards where their kids play. They counted them. No driving range here. And Benny Abbott took home movies of a red fox and hundreds of geese to show politicians what would be lost if a builder put up expensive homes. The community convinced federal officials to preserve 2 ponds as urban wetlands. In a canyon close to Denver, a developer has used computer modeling to try to convince neighbors that his rock quarry won't ruin the scenery. But the neighbors have tenaciously fought the project with their own research for 3 years.
We have the ability, which I'm very grateful for, to stand up and say, it's just not right, and we just don't want it.
Like a jury.
For businessmen, the question is, who's in charge?
I think that there are a very large number of what I would call pressure groups that have been very effective in taking control of land use zoning issues in the neighborhood. And they have become so strong that in some cases they are ruling the county.
Elected officials say they welcome most of the neighbors' new sophistication to the issues. But
activist groups that think they are the elected representatives sometimes to try to control the process.
this new neighborhood activism is working so well there's a new worry at City Hall that where there are neighbors, no development will be allowed. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Golden, Colorado.
Tomorrow's Daily Difference, vital signs. The war on cancer, 20 years and billions of dollars later. What do we have to show for it?
Power. Applied intelligently, its effects are magnificent. Witness the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, powered by the world's largest 24-valve V6 engine and an electronic transmission. It's a car designed to provide a more intelligent standard of performance, measured not simply in miles per hour, but by a slightly different gauge, miles per gallon. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Low price on chick jeans, and they're so comfortable. How do they look? Great. Are you sure? They're great. Well, what about here? Perfect. No, here. Like they were made for you. Like, do I love them?
Definitely.
What'd you get me?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, come on.
No.
Oh, please.
Okay, I got you this Fuji compact autofocus 35mm camera.
What'd you tell me for?
Kmart makes Christmas shopping so easy. Wish it would help with the other 9,000 things I have to do.
The leading gourmet coffee gets its flavor from just one kind of coffee bean. So, this is them. Folgers Gourmet Supreme starts with that same Colombian bean for dark, rich body, but then blends in Guatemalan beans for strength, Costa Rican beans for savoriness, and Mexican beans for mellowness. So, this is them, this is us. Folgers Gourmet Supreme, the 4-bean coffee.
Guess which of these fruits ounce for ounce has the most vitamins and minerals? Yep, the California prune.
Sweet, delicious California prunes. Find out how good they really are.
This Christmas, you can send a beautiful gift without ever having to leave home. The FT
STD Season's Greetings Bouquet. It's highly recommended by the one big guy who should know.
It's as easy as STD.
Here's a quick check now of some of today's other news. An Amtrak passenger train heading from New York to Tampa derailed in North Florida, struck 2 vacant houses. 51 people were injured, 6 of them seriously. 10 people were injured when an explosion ripped through a Michigan factory that makes automobile airbags. Fire officials say the blast was caused by a chemical used in passenger side bags. And on the 5th day of the Middle Eastern peace talks, Israeli negotiators say that President Bush urged them to overcome procedural differences with the Arabs and to get down to the real issues. Arab negotiators say they received similar appeals from the White House. Tonight's commentary comes from Tokyo, where John Chancellor has been visiting and taking a close look at what goes on there.
The Japanese are not like us. Americans say that because it's comforting. The Japanese are not like us, so when they beat us at something, it's because they are not like us. The truth is, the Japanese are more like us than we realize. They like whiskey and big steaks. They play jazz and baseball. They have a constitution written by Americans. Japan's success isn't based on some secret Asian formula. When Japan wins, it's because Japan is better organized. As in education, Japanese kids are in school 240 days a year, American kids 180. As in getting the most out of the workforce, David Gordon, an American economist, has found some big differences. In Japan, 4% of non-farm workers are supervisors. In the United States, 12% of the workforce is supervising other workers. Professor Gordon makes the point, if we had as few supervisors as Japan, we'd be more productive. Millions of American supervisors would be workers. Aha, you say, the Japanese can get along with so few supervisors because they're not like us. But even fewer West German workers are supervisors. The plain fact is the American workforce now contains so many supervisory jobs that it is top-heavy. There are many reasons for Japan's success, and one of them is that Japan obeys the basic rules of capitalism. It has earned its success the old-fashioned way. Nothing mysterious or oriental about that.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Industrials took a tumble, trading today with moderate.
Because some aches and pains don't go away when the lights go out, we've created Tylenol PM. Specially formulated with extra strength Tylenol pain reliever for those aches and pains that can keep you up at night. Plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep. So you can wake up refreshed in the morning. From the name you trust comes Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
I was a dedicated beard wearer until my wife gave me the new Remington Microscreen Elite. It's quick. It's close. The Remington Microscreen Elite has 2 ultra-thin screens and 112 diamond-honed cutting edges. The first screen shaves incredibly close. The second even closer. The Remington Microscreen Elite, so comfortable, shaves as close as a blade or your money back. And the Lady Remington, the perfect gift. Shave wet or dry. Super value shavers from Remington.
At Red Lobster, it only happens for the next few weeks. And it's just $7.99. Introducing a brand new shrimp combination. And wait till you taste it. First, we took a touch of honey and created new honey barbecue shrimp. Then the tang of lemon for new lemon broiled shrimp. 2 new tastes together at a special low price. Just $7.99. But for a limited time. So hurry to Red Lobster. And for holidays at home, party platters to go. Ready in just 1 hour.
Share the fantasy. Chanel number 5.
You can count on Sears for great Christmas values. This 6-cycle GE washer is just $329.99. Matching dryer, $279.99. Both large capacity, both heavy duty, both at Sears Grand Central now.
If I were to tell you about a sold-out 13-city tour, big cities, Miami, New York, Chicago, you'd think Guns N' Roses or Madonna, right? Wrong. This is a star that you may never have heard of, but trust NBC's Keith Morrison, this guy is big.
A friend at this concert the other night asked, if this guy's so famous, how come I've never heard of him? Good question. Because in some places around the country and in many countries around the world, Juan Luis Guerra is about as famous as a man can be. Burbujas de Amor, Bubbles of Love, from an American-educated Dominican who has combined Afro-Caribbean rhythms with socially conscious lyrics of such poetry that Europe, Latin America, South America can't get enough of him. But in this country...
I hope to see some Americans tonight.
Oh, he does. There's a loyal following here. America's 20 million Latinos see to that. But crossover fame hasn't happened. There was a time 40 years ago when Latin music did break through the language barrier, the mambo. Americans didn't always understand the lyrics, but the music and the rhythm, they were irresistible. And of course, they still are. Here and there, pockets of enthusiasm. But even a musical disciple says America won't embrace Guerra unless he changes for us.
The thing that I think that's going to make the difference is the salsa in English, because then it becomes more accessible for Americans.
Salsa in English? Don't count on it from Guerra.
I'm going to try the crossover, and it's pretty important to me. But without changing any word, any rhythm, any part of my music.
Can this work in such a unilingual place as America? Well, maybe.
Even if I don't know what the words mean, his music gives it away.
This unassuming Dominican is assaulting the language barrier with Bubbles of Love. Pete Morrison, NBC News, Los Angeles.
By the way, whatever did happen to the lambada? That's Nightly News for this Tuesday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night.